We've been talking about culture in practice and the factors that go into making the culture that you would either have or like to establish. And we spoke about getting the right people, and there's no question that getting the right people on the bus, hiring properly, having the right vision, and encouraging the and promoting the right actions by good leadership and by a great system of communication with your employees is important. But one of the things that is often overlooked is the business principles and philosophy that you have and how that jives with the culture you want to establish. So today there's I think, a realization that because of COVID, because of the pandemic, I think there's an increased realization that reliance on insurance is problematic. So the ability to change fees, the ability to compensate for the increase in overhead that so many practices are now experiencing, be it PPEs, other costs of doing business, including hiring the right people. Those things have gone up, and your ability to compensate for that in the financial equation of business is limited if you are insurance dependent, because the insurance companies have not been forthcoming in changing their formulations because they're in it for the profit. So it means that your profit might be suffering. So there can be, and I've seen this, a challenge in going from a culture that was established for a PPO-driven, insurance-driven type of practice into a culture that now might promote a fee-for-service type practice. So you might have hired for the insurance-driven model. You might have developed a culture that supported the insurance-driven model. And I would maintain that that's probably not the kind of culture that will attract and support fee-for-service patients. So it's really important to understand that the culture is not just dependent on you as the leader and your employees as the implementers of the culture, but it's also dependent on the patients, that the patients will actually respond to, be attracted to, or be repelled by certain culture. So what kind of culture does a fee-for-service practice require in order to maintain and attract those kinds of patients? And that, if you're going from a PPO insurance-driven model to a fee-for-service model, you need to understand that and focus on changing that culture to support and attract the kind of people that you want to have in your practice. I hope that makes some sense, and we'll talk a little bit more about that tomorrow.